Gatekeeper, open the portals between the gods and mortals. Power freely flows as our magic grows.
We call to Tiaotu, queen of the Firbolg, who gave her life so that her people could live. We call on her aspect as goddess of the earth, goddess of agriculture, goddess of life. We honor your sacrifice and offer you this whiskey. Tiaotu, accept our offering.
Accept our offering.
Hi, I'm Arin.
And I'm Jonathan.
And you're listening to Part the Mist,
a podcast by a pair of ADF Druids here in Portland, Oregon.
Did you just do that without looking?
Yes, I did.
That only took 11 episodes. All right, folks. Well, welcome to episode 11, our first episode of the new year 2017. We do apologize for getting this out a little bit late this month. As I'm sure you can imagine, the holidays had us running wild, and we unfortunately have not had time to record until today, which is Monday the 2nd. So we'll have it out as soon as we can, but things have been a little bit crazy for December. So our deity of the occasion for today is Tiaotu, who was the foster mother of Lu, who was also the last queen of the Firbolg. The Firbolg were a race of people who existed in Ireland and warred against the Favorian before the Tuatha De Danann even showed up. The story is that Tiaotu had to basically, her people, due to war, were forced to part of Ireland that was completely unprepared for any kind of planting season. So it was, Tiaotu took it upon herself to completely clear the forest on her own in order to make it so that her people could plant their plant their farms, plant their, what's the word I'm looking for? Crops, thank you. Unfortunately, this was such an arduous task that Tiaotu fell ill and ended up dying. This is where we get the Lunasa celebration from, is in honor of Tiaotu. However, I chose to honor her today just because I thought with 2017, with the new year, I really wanted to do someone that I perceive to be an earth goddess, and I definitely see Tiaotu as an earth goddess in that she did this amazing feat of clearing these woods in order to bring life to her people. So that's Tiaotu, folks. And I definitely recommend looking up some more literature on her. She's really a kind of an amazing figure in Irish history.
And being that it is January, last time for the first podcast we did Janos. So we were thinking about doing Janos, but we've already invited him already. So that's why we did Tiaotu this.
I'm sure we'll come back around to Janos again.
Yeah. I hope so.
So, Jonathan, how you doing?
I've been busy. I got a new job. Been working. Didn't have very much time to work on growth stuff lately. Again, just got out of training, just been so super busy. Starting up the new Groves liturgy group for next month, February, so that should be exciting. Yeah. Like I as senior druid for the last time, I helped with Yule, and that was my last time for as senior druid, for at least for this time around.
For this cycle.
I don't know if I'll run again. It depends.
Yeah, well, we'll see how I do.
Yeah.
It might be atrocious. You might need you back in the seat.
True.
Yeah, that was Yule was kind of a big deal because for me it was a lot of like taking internal notes, taking actual written notes, and making sure that I was prepared to step up into that role for Imbolc, which I actually am also co-leading. So it's gonna be, January's a little bit stressful for me. We haven't had a whole lot of time to get ready for our Imbolc ritual. But I think we just had a major brainstorming meeting about it, and I think it's going to be pretty good. I'm excited. I think it's going to be really nice and magical. But yeah, I'm getting ready. I'm getting ready. I am. I'm stepping into those shoes now and really starting to plan things out and get myself into the right brain space, mental space to be the best damn senior druid for Columbia Grove that I can be.
Excellent.
Yeah.
I don't know what else to say to that, but excellent.
Unfortunately, it's going to be a little bit more difficult for both of us. Our schedules, to get together twice a month for the podcast. So after the Imbolc recap, I think we're going to be cutting out the
recap.
The recap.
At least for now,
recaps.
because my schedule changes every 3 months. So we might have a special interview we might throw in, but the whole twice a month was getting kind of hard for us to schedule. Not just us, but trying to get other Grove members to show up was kind of difficult.
Yeah.
People's lives are busy. For our Grove, we do so much stuff. This additional thing was getting rough for people.
Yes. We will definitely, we're still planning on putting out episodes for the first of each month. And that's actually a little bit of what we're going to be talking about for our episode today, is our hopes and dreams for the coming year with the podcast. And then a little bit later, we'll finally be playing you that promised elusive interview with Kirk.
Yes, that'll be towards the end of this episode.
Yes. So,
I think we should jump right into it.
Yeah, 2017, Part the Mist. What are we doing?
All right. A couple things off the top of my head. We do have a special segment coming up with Kirk Thomas reading old Oak Leaves articles. It will be recorded, and it will be attached probably either right after the musical break, between sections. Now, we're probably not going to get rid of completely our ritual recap. We'll probably do a 5-minute segment and add it to this show.
Yeah.
So it's not going away completely. It's just not going to be a standalone.
Right.
I'm hoping that we be able to interview some ADF members, either in the Mother Grove, Archdruid, Regional Druids. I'm not naming names because we have no confirmation with anybody. But we're hoping to be able to interview, certain people in ADF who might not, be a priest. I mean, it doesn't matter. Everyone's experience is so unique.
Right.
It'd be nice to hear from the wide variety of the membership of ADF.
I really like the interviews that we had over the last year, just talking about, individual hearth cultures. And I really like to get to talk to maybe some of those people about their, their paganisity. I don't know.
Paganisity. Yes, we go back and we can interview some of the people that we've done in the past as well. We'll have more of those live interviews also because we're having Beyond the Gates for 2017, so we'll have another one of those. As well as hopefully we'll be able to go to 8 Winds as well. Now, unfortunately, we can't get to any of those ADF festivals back east. A lot of it has to do, for me personally, at least, it's financial.
Myself as well.
Yeah, the tickets and everything. It's quite expensive flying from Portland to what are some of those places? Not Montana. Ohio and stuff.
Yeah.
It's just very expensive.
Yeah.
And we love to go there. That would be awesome. So maybe one day in the future we'll be able to go.
I heard about one event that was happening in New York, I think this coming year, that sounds exciting, and I wish I could go. But
we're far away. We're far away from everybody.
I know for myself, I actually just found out that I have a pretty hefty debt due to some pretty terrible situations in my past. Other people leaving me with a debt, so for me personally, that's gonna be a lot of fun to deal with.
so that's why we can't get a whole lot of in person, but we will have some phone interviews soon. But again, we have no names because we're going to be working on that. At the end of
Yes.
this month, we'll start emailing people out, hopefully. And if any of you listeners would love to be interviewed, we would be more than happy to talk to you too. Just send us an email. What's our email address?
That is ptmpod@gmail.com.
Yeah, send us an email. We'd be happy to talk with you.
And we're not just looking, we again, just to reemphasize, we're not interested in talking to just clergy or just, big name pagans. We're interested in talking to whoever. I mean, you are interesting people, listeners. You are interesting people, and I want to know what you have to say. So if you're interested for being interviewed, please let us know. We'll be happy to bring you onto the podcast.
Because this is our Druidry. This isn't just mine.
Correct.
Or it's not just the Mother Grove's Druidry. This is all of ours. So all of our experiences adds up to a collective sum of who we are.
Yes, absolutely.
So yes, if you're new, if you just joined ADF and you just found out about ADF, we would love to talk to you too.
If you've been with ADF for 18 years and you still haven't completed the Dedicant path, we'd like to talk to you too.
Hey, I'm not laughing. It took me 3 years, so
yeah.
I'm not laughing at that.
I'm on 3 years of I'm on year 3 of mine. Hopefully, my plan is to get it done this year. My plan is to get it done before June if I can.
So what else do we got coming up?
I would like to do an episode or two, maybe just about the educational paths that we have within ADF, talking a little bit more in depth about what we do in the Dedicant path, talking about the initiate path, the clergy path, and some of those special interest groups also all have, education paths. So I'd like to spend a little bit of time talking about that, kind of getting that information out there for the people who maybe have been interested in checking those things out, but just don't have the time to sit down and read everything on the ADF website.
Yes, that does sound excellent.
Yeah. That's pretty much what I've got at this point. I think that'll take us through a couple months for sure.
Oh, with the interviews alone, I think.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah.
The interviews, unless we have any more questions being sent to us, I think we're going to be just interviewing because we've gone through the basics. This first year, we've gone through the hearth cultures. We've gone through what ADF is. Of course, you go into more detail, but then that's the really fine details, which I don't know will be enough to make an actual episode with. So we're going to start asking people their experiences at this point, because not all of us, like I said, can make it to these festivals. I know that there's a big group of people who go to these festivals who all know each other. I feel, for me, I'm left out because I can't go.
Right.
And so the only time I ever get to talk or hear about somebody is when they write something on either the ADF Facebook page or through the email listing. Other than that, it's pretty isolating other than the Grove.
Right. So we'd like to get to talk to those people and let our listeners get to know those people as well, because I know we're not the only people stuck here in our corner of the world, unable to go to these amazing festivals.
I got an idea for a show.
Yes.
We should do a show about starting a proto-grove. Starting an ADF group. I think
that would be a great
I think
show.
that would be great. I know there's a couple people who would be interested in talking about that. I think that how do you start one?
Yeah.
Or how do you start the Dedicant path too? That'd be another one. We bring Amber on to that one. So there's a lot more good stuff that's coming up. I know that we don't have a fine list right now of all the bullet points. Because it's been the holidays, it's been a little insane.
One of the things that I would like to do is start getting some reviews, some book reviews. It's something that was recommended by more than one person, and that's something that I definitely like. I know I have a couple kind of in my cache that I can review already. Just getting some ADF books, some of our books that we are reading for our clergy and Dedicant paths, and getting some actual spoken reviews out for those.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah. And if you guys have reviews, either that you'd like to come onto the podcast yourself and review some pagan books, or you'd like us to read those, feel free to reach out to us, ptmpod@gmail.com.
Yes. I'd also like to add a Bardic portion to the to this podcast too.
You'd like to?
Yeah, me.
So this is the first time I'm hearing about this.
Yes. I just thought about it about 5 seconds ago while you were talking. Yeah. Because we have some good songwriters in the ADF, having them come up and maybe sharing a song or talking about their process as well.
Oh, that would be great.
Yeah.
That's a good idea, sir. Yes, I agree.
Okay. Well, luckily we now have we have proof of this because it's on the podcast, so we can go back and re-listen to it. Like, what did I say?
Yeah. So you guys are kind of witness to our brainstorming process here a little bit, actually, because some of these ideas we had, a few of them are coming up as we speak.
Yes. Arin, do you have anything else like that? Because this is a very short podcast for this month.
Yes, it is. Well, we do have our interview with Kurt coming up, and that's going to be a longer interview, but. No, that's pretty much all the ideas I have for the podcast.
Okay, great. Well, we'll go ahead and take a musical break for a moment, and when we come back, we'll go ahead and play Kirk's interview.
Sounds good.
Hail the day so long expected. Trumpets swoop and soar. Avalon is rising, is rising, is rising. Avalon is rising to fall no more. Avalon is rising, is rising, is rising. Avalon is rising to fall no more.
All of us now stand in wonder as our visions come to pass. Earth Mother and God of thunder, huntress weaver, join the dance. Swell the sound of joyous laughter, hear immortal voices roar.
Avalon is rising, is rising, is rising. Avalon is rising to fall no more. Avalon is rising, is rising, is rising. Avalon is rising to fall no more.
Though some thought that all their hating had sent her beneath the waves, Avalon was merely waiting, for her folk will not be slaves. Now the day of freedom's dawning brings them back forevermore.
Avalon is rising, is rising, is rising. Avalon is rising to fall no more. Avalon is rising, is rising, is rising. Avalon is rising to fall no more.
Hark all ye in groves and bowers, Pan has come another time, ruling with a rod of flowers, giving us the bliss sublime. Prayer and Freya now shall guide us, Venus be our counselor.
Avalon is rising, is rising, is rising. Avalon is rising to fall no more. Avalon is rising, is rising, is rising. Avalon is rising to fall no more.
Listen, warriors of the old gods, as the wild hunt's horn doth sound. All their works shall fall before us, and the evil ones be bound. Raise the shield of bright Athena, swing the hammer of great Thor.
Avalon is rising, is rising, is rising. Avalon is rising to fall no more. Avalon is rising, is rising, is rising. Avalon is rising to fall no more.
Hear me now, each Dree and Bondry, Brahmin, Volkvi, Flamen too, priest and priest priestess, poet, Goldie, rune master, and shaman true. All your faith now is rewarded, prophets of the ancient lore.
Avalon is rising, is rising, is rising. Avalon is rising to fall no more. Avalon is rising, is rising, is rising. Avalon is rising to fall no more.
Some of us shall go a-sailing through the void so deep and far. They will come with us unfailing, plant the seeds from star to star. Hear our children's voices, join with those from days of yore.
Avalon is rising, is rising, is rising. Avalon is rising to fall no more. Avalon is rising, is rising, is rising. Avalon is rising to fall no
Hi, I'm Reverend William Ashton, and you're listening to Part the Mist, a Druid podcast created and hosted by the members of Columbia ADF.
Sacred Gifts, Reciprocity in the Gods. This book is all about reciprocity, the give and take of life, and how the religions of the ancient world relied upon this gift exchange to even exist. Just as people give to each other in life, so may we give to the gods and spirits, expecting blessings in return. This timeless way of looking at our dealings with the gods mirrors how our own society holds together even today. We give love and aid to our friends and family, and they return the favor. And we can give love and aid to the spirits so that they can return the favor to us. I give so that you may give. We give so that they may give. Reciprocity, an important concept in paganism. Sacred Gifts, Reciprocity in the Gods is available on Amazon.com.
Hey everybody, our Kirk interview file was corrupted, so we're going to have to go back up to Trout Lake Abbey and re-record the interview with him. It seems like his interview keeps escaping our grasps. So go ahead and sit back and listen to our Yule Recap instead. We will hopefully get you that Kirk interview sometime in the near future.
Hi, and welcome to another episode of Part the Mist. I almost forgot the name of my own podcast for a second. I am here today with our Yule leaders, Spider, whom you've heard before, and for her debut on the show, we also have Drea.
Yay! Hello.
So it's been a couple of weeks now.
Holidays.
Yeah. There's this weird thing that happens at the end of the year called Christmas and New Year's, and apparently that's a big thing, and people celebrate that and go away. And so we had a little bit of a delay in getting this podcast recorded, but we're here now, and we're here to talk about how basically, we're here to talk about how Yule went.
Well, I'm a little biased. I really enjoyed Yule this year.
So, Amber, would you like to tell us a little bit about what we did this year?
So we had a lot of really fun different elements as part of our Yule this year. It was the same sort of things that we had last year, but we had so many new people come to our ritual this year, so it was really, really neat to get to see so many new faces and to really just kind of celebrate this time of year and the light returning to the dark part of the year. Let's see. We had all kinds of fun stuff with the Yule log. We started actually this year with decorating our Yule log. So when our guests showed up at the ritual, we had the log on display. And unlike last year we had little strips of paper that people put their wishes on and stuff. This year we tried to go a little bit more visual. So this year I had a whole bunch of glitter laid out so that people can pick different colors of glitter to sprinkle on top of the Yule log, and there was bits of ribbon to tie onto the branches of the Yule log. So that went over really well, and that Yule log it sparkled. It was super sparkly.
Which, by the way, I had to stay far away from that because my boyfriend Sam will not touch me if I have any kind of glitter on me at all.
Well, that's unfortunate.
And we also had Freya's board, didn't we?
We did. Last year, I paper mache'd my first thing in the world, and it was this 3D boar that fits on I think it's a big, huge baking pan. And it's actually my jelly roll pan. And I made this big, huge 3D paper mache boar, and it had a little hole in the back. So it's kind of like a treasure box, but it's boar shaped. And the hole in the back is so that people could actually fill out on strips of paper their oaths and their resolutions for the new year, their promises, and put it into the back of the boar so that the boar was infused with all of these resolutions and oaths and stuff, and it became a key element as part of our ritual as well. But it's a happy little boar full of everybody's, resolutions and stuff.
It is so cute.
I had so many people ask, are you actually going to burn this boar? Are you going to sacrifice him because he's really cute? And I was like, no, don't worry. I put a whole lot of work into this, and it's got a lot of non-burnable elements to it. Like it's got glue and fur and a lot of plasticky type things that are not good to burn. Not very druid to burn. Plus he's adorable, so we just end up burning all of the contents that are inside of him. Which this year I had to actually think ahead and make a door in the backside of the boar so that you could remove those things. Because last year we had to kind of tear into him a little bit like a piñata, and that wasn't very happy.
I remember slicing into him with a butcher's knife or something.
Yeah.
Oh, but now he has like a little bum flap.
Yes,
PJs. Yeah, it's very cute.
So, Drea, how was it? This was the first ritual you've ever co-led. How was that?
It was good. I thought it went well. There's never, the perfectionistic part of yourself is never completely satisfied, of course.
That's true.
I thought it went really well. The energy was great. It was just a fantastic crowd of people. It was awesome that we had so many people show up, even though it was icy and snowy.
Oh, yeah.
And the weather was terrible. We still had a great turnout, which was fantastic. And I just felt a lot of warmth in the room and a lot of good, wonderful, Yuletide support. So that was lovely.
Yeah, that was the thing about this year that was a little bit different for us. See, here in Portland, we have about 5 snow plows, and that's about how we take care of the snow here in Portland. Well, it decided to snow for our solstice ritual,
which was in its own way awesome.
It was amazing.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
However, when you're in a city full of people who aren't used to the snow all that often, and on top of that, don't have a whole lot of snow precautions, a lot of us were very nervous.
Yeah.
We still went through with the ritual. It started snowing, I think, as people were showing up for the pre-ritual run-through. But overall, I think it went really well. A lot of people braved it, and if you're one of those people that braved it, I want to say thank you again, and I'm glad you made it there safely and made it home safely.
Yes. I think one of the most important things to remember about our snow is snow's great. But where we're at in Oregon, snow brings ice.
Yes.
And everything was so icy already because the weather had been so cold that everything had already iced over. So it was kind of a bit of ice capades in our parking lot.
Yeah.
We had Jonathan out there with some other individuals salting the walkways and stuff, doing what we can and salting down all the handicap spots and everything we possibly could to make it less slick.
And there was a group that was actually there before us too, White Owl Sanctuary, which is a Nordic group.
It's White Owl Heathen Group.
Oh, sorry, you're right. Yeah. Right, White Owl Heathen Group. And they had salted the walkways beforehand also. So thank you to you guys as well if any of you guys are listening.
So lots of cool things about this ritual. I was super happy to work with Drea. This is the first ritual where I got to work with Drea, and I was so blown away by you having so much of the ritual memorized. It's something that I'm still working on, and I'm not quite there yet, but it's one of my main goals for this coming year. Mm-hmm. And to see you be so like on point in so many different ways, I was like, wow, Drea, I got to step my game up.
Oh, thanks. I was definitely referencing, I made a little booklet of the summary of the ritual. That was very helpful. It's a lot to memorize.
It really is.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, speaking of on point, your guys' outfits were on point.
It's us. I mean, come on. The people with we are fancy outfit girls.
Drea was there in a cute, like, kind of Nordic outfit with, you had like an apron and everything, didn't you?
It was apron dress, full on linen. Yep.
And Amber had painted her face with deer makeup and was wearing antlers, and it was freaking awesome.
Which was also fun before ritual. We're doing our ritual run through, and I'm just prancing around like a deer, trying to get all my nerves like out. Other really cool thing about this ritual, this was the first time I ever did a solo song invocation, which was terrifying.
It was marvelous.
It was.
I loved that part of the ritual.
Thank
you did
you.
Such an amazing job.
Thank
that
you.
was just woo.
That was our
Powerful.
invocation to Odin.
Mm-hmm.
Was a 3-verse song, and I managed to do it without too much trouble, so that was good.
We also had some new songs for the bards.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What did we have?
Yule-log.
We had the Yule log song, yes, and we had a couple of basically wassail songs with pagan lyrics that we sang before and after the ritual. So that was a lot of fun.
I love filks.
I do
fun.
too. Jonathan, of course, hates them, but he's a grumpy Gus.
Yeah. That's true.
It was Amber's first time invoking the gatekeeper.
Yes, it was.
Which is kind of a big theatrical deal in our rituals.
Yeah, I kind of like what Drea had said before. It's definitely one of those, like, we're our own worst enemy in critiques, and there was a lot of room for me to improve, I think. But it was fun, and I realize now that it's not the biggest hurdle to climb in terms of our rituals. Mm-hmm. Now that it's been performed once, I'm like, all right, let's do this again. This is fun.
Yeah, well, I thought it went great. I mean, there's definitely a lot of energy behind it, so I think that was very successful.
So, Amber, what was your favorite part about the ritual?
Oh, goodness. I think my favorite part is always spending time with our guests before the ritual and after. Mm-hmm. I think that trying to incorporate the elements of the Yule log and the Freya's boar and talking with people one-on-one and be like, hey, did you get that taken care of? Like, go out there and like, we've got these fun little things that are part of the ritual. And when they realize, they're like, oh wait, this is part of the ritual. Like, this is actually something that's going to happen later. And then they would get a little more excited about it. Plus, I'm a little bit biased. The whole glitter on the log. Like, that was a silly, fun little thing, and I loved going out there and seeing people like just get super giddy about just sprinkling this darn thing with glitter. So, that was fun. And then post ritual, I had a lot of people come up to me and talk about, either my makeup, because it was a little outrageous. I was a deer, and by outrageous I mean awesome. But also, people would come up and talk about how it flowed so well. And I was like, yeah, this was the first time I got to work with Drea, and they had no idea this was your first ritual. That's how good it was.
Oh, honey, thank you. That's awesome.
Drea, what was your favorite part?
Well, I do love, interacting with folks that come before and after, and we just had a wonderful, warm gathering after. And I just, my favorite parts of the ritual are always those moments where you are not as concerned where you're in the moment with it. You're not as concerned about what does it say in the script, what am I reading, you're there, you have confidence, you know what you're doing. And in those beautiful moments, you actually have the ability to really connect with everyone there and to connect to the gods, and just feel the energy and the power of the room. And like, those are always my favorite parts, and I felt like there were some moments in there that were really lovely.
Your parting words were amazing. Like that the last thing that we say before we determine that the ritual is over. Drea had this beautiful monologue that was it was ad hoc, it was in the moment, and it was super touching, and I really enjoyed it.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, I felt really good in that moment. It definitely felt like a good community bonding moment.
Advertisements for why we should improv more.
Yes, exactly. For sure.
I gotta say, for me, I hear what you guys are saying. Like, I think for me, my favorite part was we actually had a couple. We had one kid show up who this was, I think, our second ritual that he'd been to, and he's Wiccan, and he brought his parents who are Christian. So it was their first kind of experience with this kind of pagan ritual. I know, and community, yeah. And so they had a lot of questions that I felt like they were being very good about, and asking their questions and getting their answers and listening and taking in what they were experiencing, and I felt like we gave them a good positive representation of the pagan community. And on top of that, like they came up to me afterwards, and they said that they really enjoyed it. I like I said, I think we gave them a really good positive representation, and that for me has to be my favorite part. The fact that we had
set a good example.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's super. What cool people. That's
yes.
lovely.
I'm glad that they got to talk with you about that too, because I know that, through member grapevine, I heard that there was some Christian parents there, and they were respectfully interested and really trying to support their child and everything. And I was like, that's beautiful.
Yes.
First off, that's amazing.
That's super cool.
But I never got a chance to actually talk with them, and we had so many people at the ritual that I wasn't even quite sure who they were. But that's the nice thing about our rituals, is that we have so many people there that everybody gets to talk to somebody else. Like, I got to talk with about 5 to 10 people in depth, and you got to talk to different people in depth, and Drea got to talk to different people in depth. And it's a nice thing that we have so many members to be able to speak one-on-one with our community as well.
Well, any concluding words?
I'm excited for next year.
Yes.
Definitely.
All right. Well, we are going to go ahead and wrap it up then. Please stay tuned for our January 1st episode, now that it's after January 1st.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. And we'll see you next time. So to wrap up our episode today, this morning, whenever you happen to be listening, you can find us on iTunes, Part the Mist Podcast. Find us also on Stitcher, and Podbean now, I believe it is. Yes. Look for us on Facebook. We have a fan page and a discussion group, and we're more than happy to hear what you guys are thinking. And what else?
I think that's it.
I guess that's it. You can email us, in case you didn't write that down earlier. Email us, ptmpod@gmail.com. Our website, ptmpod.libsyn.com. And that's everything. So, Happy New Year, guys.
Oh, and stay tuned for our Yule...
Yes.
Yes, our Yule... what was it?
Our Yule Recap.
Yes.
Our Nordic Yule Recap. That should be coming out when?
Next week.
Yeah, all right. So stay tuned for that. And again, I hope you guys had a happy new year. I hope you had a wonderful solstice, Christmas, Hanukkah, whatever it is that you guys celebrate.
Saturnalia, woo!
Saturnalia. And take care. Drive safe. 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 Safe.